each prong and the ends of this. I want to do a little video on this new tool that I got that I talked about earlier. It's called a hot stapler, and it is made to be able to fix this rigid plastic, like broken tabs on headlights or any kind of plastic that is broken. The point of it is to use these little wire pieces to be able to kind of weld it back together with a staple that's melted halfway through the plastic. We're going to start this by trying to do it on an easy item. If we can fix this, we'll save ourselves $50 or so on a broken air cleaner housing. So this air cleaner housing is located in that corner of the car that was hit, and so this tab piece right here was broken off, and this piece was broken off. And believe it or not, they survived the trip, just laying in the bottom of the car, stuck somewhere for an 8-hour drive home, so from Atlanta. So I'm gonna hook all this up and get it warmed up, and then show you guys or see if this works. Two little prongs, just like a regular staple. I'm going to put each prong in the ends of this. Oh, just kidding. So I completed the repair here, and you guys let me know what you think. I mean, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it is strong when you get finished. See how those kind right there that weave, that you just weave them in and out of the crack, and so it's just like sewing it together like a needle and thread. See, that one I should have done the other direction. I should have used a weave one to go down that crack, but didn't know what I was doing yet. And then on the bottom here, that's solid, and then I did it again on the inside, and I mean, they're solid. You can grab a hold of that tab and that I put on there, and it is not going anywhere. So stuff that doesn't like get seen, it doesn't really matter what it looks like, it definitely works. It's solid, and it holds it together. So I'd say that accomplishes the goal. Well, I've got the car loaded on the trailer. Once again, I'm getting ready to take it into town to get an ID/OD inspection, which means in Missouri you're penalized if you don't get the original title put in your name within 30 days. So since the car is not ready to be inspected for the main to get it to be a prior salvage title, I have to go get the title switched to my name. It just go from salvage to salvage, but just in my name. And so we'll go get that inspection, and then while I'm in town, I'm going to have body man Mike take a look at the paint and see what he gives his suggestions on it. The paint on this thing is just not up to par for what I like. Let me show you. On this side we have this OEM fender, this 5.0 fender, and you can see the I don't know if the camera picks it up well or not, but it's a really good reflection in that fender. But when you get over here to this other fender. See my yellow hat there? How clear that is, and then I go over to the door and it's very blurred. So that's kind of what the paint is like on the rest of the car, I assume, from that previous accident. I don't know why they painted the whole car. I think it was just front end damage, but anyway, it's just not very good paint job, and I want to see if he wants to, if there's a way that he can either help me to sand it down and buff it out, or whether the rest of it needs to be painted. But you know, I know the front two fenders and the hood and this front bumper, and then I'm going to have him paint the trunk for sure, because it's got, I don't know if you can see all these really weird scratches in this back piece. I think this is fiberglass, so I'm going to have him redo that trunk lid on the paint, and just see what he has to say, then I'll update you guys. Made it back to the shop safe and sound. Body man Mike gave me a lot of good tips and pointers and stuff, and he looked at the paint, and he thinks that depending on when we start sanding it, if they got enough clear coat on, whoever painted it last, if there's enough clear coat on there, he thinks we can get it smooth and buffed out with what's on there. So we're going to try that and see what happens. He also gave me some tips on the gaps, and we were able to loosen the hood up and pull it down a little bit more, make the gaps better. This really helped the front right there, so that's a lot better. I could live with that gap than what was on there before. And so when I take him the stuff to be painted, I'm just going to take him the hood, the front bumper cover, and that back trunk lid, which is just the fiberglass part of the trunk lid, and then everything else I'm going to try to sand and buff. He also gave me some paint for the radiator support, and I'm going to start taking all the panels back off so I can get that painted and welded. And then he's going to be gone for a while, and when he gets back, he's going to do the painting on those pieces. And in the meantime, I'm going to still be working on the trying to get the codes figured out. I've removed everything, the fenders and the front bumper cover and all that, and I'm continuing on with getting everything off of the radiator support. So what I've done is marked where this needs to be on here with white paint pen, so that I'll know where I need to sand off. And also I made a line here and underneath, I don't know if you can see that or not, so to know where this piece right here is going to match up with the brace that goes behind the headlight, because I'm going to have to punch some holes in the front of this so that I can spot weld it back into this. But once I take all this apart, I've got to get the paint off of this and the rust and everything, and get it clean and use some weld through primer on there before I match all this back up. So I've done that on this side and this side. And so I'll continue to get this stuff off and then get ready for paint. So I've got the radiator support back off. What I've got to do now is go through, and anywhere there's rust, or I've already ground down the old spot welds, but anywhere match the rest of them. So I've got one that matches those, and what I'll do is take that tire off, have the new one put on that rim, and then switch both back ones. So I'll rotate them up to the front, and then move the one that's slightly different tread than the other one to the back. I mean, maybe like a 30-second or something different, so it's almost the exact same. And so that's really all I'm going to get done here tonight, because it's starting to get late.
Next week on Rebuild It, Mark polishes a damaged front fender. Also, make sure to check us out on Instagram, where we post behind-the-scenes photos, sneak peeks, giveaways, and information for future videos. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in and watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome content. Have a good one.